Have you ever heard of a journey that seems almost too incredible to be true? A story of a man who walked from the Mississippi River all the way to the Pacific Ocean, decades before Lewis and Clark even set out? Today, we're diving into the mysterious and fascinating life of Moncacht-Apé, the Yazoo explorer whose epic transcontinental trek is one of history's most captivating tales. Who was Moncacht-Apé? His name, which means the one who kills trouble and fatigue, perfectly captures his spirit. He was a member of the Yazoo people, a Native American group living near the Mississippi River in what is now the state of Mississippi. Sometime around the year 1700, driven by an insatiable curiosity about his ancestors' origins, Moncacht-Apé embarked on a quest that would take him across the entire North American continent. His story wasn't written down by him, but was carefully preserved through oral tradition and later recorded by a French colonist named Antoine-Simon Lepage du Pratz. Lepage lived among the Natchez people for years and was a trusted friend of the tribal leaders. It was through these connections that he met the elderly Moncacht-Apé and listened, spellbound, as the old explorer recounted his life's greatest adventure. Moncacht-Apé's journey began with a simple but profound question. Where did his people come from? The elders told him of a tradition that their ancestors originated from a land far to the west, near a great water where the sun sets. This idea ignited a fire in him. He decided he had to see this ancestral homeland for himself. He wanted to walk the path of his forefathers. So he set off, heading north along the Mississippi River, until he reached the confluence with the Missouri River. The local tribes there advised him that the Missouri was the key, the great river that flowed from the direction of the setting sun. For months, Moncacht-Apé traveled up the Missouri, a journey that itself was a monumental undertaking. He encountered numerous villages and peoples, learning their languages, customs, and the geography of the land. He was a diplomat as much as an explorer, using his intelligence and respectful demeanor to gain safe passage and gather information. He eventually reached the headwaters of the Missouri River in the Rocky Mountains. Here, he faced a formidable barrier. The tribes in this mountainous region were initially wary, but Moncacht-Apé's peaceful intentions and clear purpose won them over. They told him of a great river of the west that flowed from the other side of the mountains, a river that led to the great water. After staying with them for the winter, learning their ways, his new friends guided him through the treacherous mountain passes. On the other side, he found it, a river that flowed westward. Historians believe this was likely the Columbia River. He followed its course, passing through yet more lands and meeting different peoples. He noticed something fascinating. The people he met on the western slopes of the Rockies had customs and physical similarities to the people back home, confirming the ancient stories of a shared origin. Finally, after years of walking, he reached his destination. He stood on the shores of the Pacific Ocean. Imagine that moment. A man from a village on the Mississippi, looking out at the endless expanse of the Pacific. He had done it. He had walked across a continent. But his journey wasn't over. The coastal tribes told him of strange men who came from the sea on floating villages' ships to trade for resources. They described these men as bearded, armed with what Moncacht-Apé called fire that makes a great noise, and they took a specific yellow wood. These were likely Spanish or even Russian explorers and traders. This detail is incredible because it provides a potential point of verification for his account. Driven by this new mystery, Moncacht-Apé traveled north along the coast, hoping to meet these bearded men. He walked for a very long time, reaching a land where the days in summer were incredibly long and the nights short. This suggests he traveled very far north, perhaps to the coast of modern-day British Columbia or even Alaska. He learned that the bearded men had once built a settlement nearby, but they had been driven out by the local people after they mistreated them. The story of this conflict was a cautionary tale, but it didn't deter Moncacht-Apé. He was simply an observer, a seeker of knowledge. After satisfying his curiosity, he began the long journey home. He retraced his steps, a journey that took several more years. Think about the sheer endurance and mental fortitude required. He wasn't just walking. He was surviving, navigating, and building relationships across a vast, unmapped wilderness. When he finally returned to his village, he was an old man. He had been gone for nearly a decade. He shared his stories, the incredible things he'd seen, the people he'd met, and the confirmation of their ancestral migration from the West. His journey became a celebrated legend among his people. Years later, the Frenchman Le-Page du Prat's recorded the tale. Le-Page was a meticulous observer and was skeptical at first. But as Moncacht-Apé described the geography, the flow of the Missouri, the mountain ranges, the great river of the West, the Pacific coast, Le-Page, who was a geographer himself, realized the account was internally consistent and geographically plausible. He couldn't have just made it up. The details were too specific, too accurate for someone who had never been there. For centuries, Moncacht-Apé's story was seen by many Western historians as little more than a folktale. How could a lone man have accomplished such a feat? But as our knowledge of the continent's geography and Native American trade networks has grown, his journey has been reevaluated. Modern scholars now see his account as remarkably credible. The routes he described align with major Native American trade and travel corridors that had existed for centuries. His descriptions of the Missouri and Columbia river systems are accurate. His observations of different tribal cultures and even the activities of European coastal traders lend strong support to his story. Moncacht-Apé was not just an adventurer. He was a scholar, a diplomat, and a scientist of his time. He undertook his journey not for conquest or for profit, but for knowledge. He wanted to understand his place in the world and connect with his own history. His journey is a powerful testament to the rich intellectual and exploratory traditions of Native American cultures that are so often overlooked in mainstream history. While Lewis and Clark are celebrated for discovering a route to the Pacific, Moncacht-Apé's story suggests that this discovery was more of a rediscovery. The path was already known. The continent had been crossed before. His journey challenges the very idea of an unexplored wilderness and shows us a continent that was, in fact, a connected and well-traveled homeland for millions of people. Moncacht-Apé's epic walk across America is more than just an adventure story. It's a vital piece of history that reframes our understanding of the continent before widespread European settlement. It highlights the incredible knowledge, resilience, and curiosity of indigenous peoples. A man who, armed with little more than his own determination and a profound question, walked from one ocean to the other and back again. So the next time you look at a map of North America, remember the story of Moncacht-Apé, the Yazoo explorer who knew its secrets long before the famous names in our history books. His legacy is a powerful reminder that history is filled with incredible stories. You just have to know where to look and who to listen to. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as amazing as I did, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into hidden history.